hero comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Sober Monday. We made it through another weekend. Morning, Leisure. Glad you're feeling better, bro. Brah. What's up? Anybody remember that Budweiser commercial? What's up? People said it for years. Drove me nuts. Drove me nuts, man. What's up? Now I'm going to drive you nuts. What's up? All right. Enough of that. Enough with the fooling around. God forbid we have fun while we're here. All right. I didn't do any work this weekend. And I don't know that I really plan on doing any work today either. Just kind of taking a few days off. And yeah, taking care of myself. So we'll see what I get done today. Probably work on cleaning out the garage. It's a nice day for it. Today we're talking about thousands of founders. Got a couple of different places I'm reading from. Today's daily reflection leads us to a book called The AA Way of Life, which I sat there and I'm like, okay, where's this book? Where's this book? Well, it's as Bill sees it. The AA Way of Life. But when it says to go to page 67 in here, doesn't quite match, but we're gonna make it match. We're gonna kind of shove these two topics together. I really appreciated the daily reflection. This one is about giving kudos to the right places, right? And yeah. There's a lot of different opinions about Bill. I've heard Bill be called several types of names by people who have never met him. You can't really determine what somebody is if you never met the person. Otherwise, it's what I would call rumor. Yeah. Bill was an egomaniac. Sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Anybody here else an egomaniac? No, yeah. Every single person in AA. Oh, you know what else he was? He was a human being. Anybody else here a human being? I'm a human being. Good morning, Patricia, or good afternoon for you. All right. So there are some facts out there about Bill. I'm not going to cover them and give other people more ammunition to hate on Bill. Usually the people that hate on Bill usually want to do the program their own way. It doesn't, if we don't learn from the past, we will be doomed to repeat it. What's going on right now? Everybody jumped on the recovery bus doing all sorts of stuff. And now the money's gone. What are you going to do? It hasn't changed anything for me. Nothing. The way that I do things, it has not changed because what I do is not reliant upon government money. It never has been, and it never will be. I just don't go that route. Okay? If we're going to make money, it's going to be earned. It's going to be done the right way. All right. Let's get started today. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'll be your host today and the foreseeable future. If you're here, please say hello. Not required to. You don't have to, you ain't got to say nothing if you don't want to. I'm the kind of person where if you want to recover out loud, then go for it, man. If you want to not recover necessarily out loud, go for it. You know, we need all sorts of people on this program, right? Most people that listen to me are introverted, and I get it. I know I seem very extroverted, but I'm not as extroverted as you think I am. I'm actually kind of introverted. Kinda. I don't know. It's weird. I'm introverted, but my need to be the center of attention tends to override it. Right? Yeah. That's why one of the reasons I made this, so I could be the center of attention. You know, the key is not to abuse it. That's the key. So we're going to start with the daily reflections today, and then we'll get to As Bill Sees It, an AA way of life. All right. Now, I think that AA came about in a divine way. It was divinely set up. If certain things didn't happen, if certain, like hundreds of certain little things did not happen, AA would not be here. It wouldn't. Just like this world is perfection. Okay. Does that mean that the founders were perfect? Not by a long shot. What they gave us was the basics. They gave us the basics. And we've got to learn how to keep things simple in this world. Right? When it becomes unsimple, it is no longer recovery. It is a masterclass. It is a speech. It is a lot of other different things. So let's get started. You should name it Dion's Trudging Together. Enjoy my new free masterclass. Put away that pocketbook. There's more. Anytime it says, hey, come join our free group, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to an Amway meeting. Multi-level marketing for those that don't know. I don't know if multi-level marketing happens in other countries. So, all right. So, a wide arc of gratitude. And speaking for Dr. Bob and myself, I greatly declare that it had not been for our wives, Anne and Lois, neither one of us could have lived to see AA's beginning. See, even right there, if it wasn't for the friends of AA, for the friends of alcoholics, for the wives and the husbands that had to deal with the alcoholic wives, okay, in this day and age, partners, we'll go with partners. I don't mind. I don't care if you married a man or married a woman. I don't care. If you're happy and making your world a better place, then it's not my business beyond that. Good morning, Claire. It's good to see you. I missed you this weekend. So I hope you were having fun. Probably taking a little break, enjoying life. But it's good to see you on this Monday morning. So yeah, thanking these people in our lives. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be here. Right? Yesterday, I was in the middle of cleaning, and when I'm cleaning, I just don't like to be bothered. I'm on a roll, and if you disrupt it, I get a little pissy. Imagine that. And I was doing something, and my wife kind of interrupted me. I'm like, what? What do you want? And I was pretty short with her. I wasn't mean. And I have resting bitch face, so But so later I went to her, and because it doesn't matter big or small. If I own amends, I gotta make the amends. And I went back to her, and I said, babe, I'm sorry. You caught me cleaning, And, I could have been a little bit nicer about that. So I apologize. I want you to know I noticed it. And she said, yeah, my timing, like she has bad timing. And I said, you know what? You have the best timing in the world. If it wasn't for you, I'd be dead because of your timing. And she looks at me and I said, you dragged my ass out of California. Right? I moved to California and I was going to drink myself to death. That was the plan. That was the plan. Yeah. If it wasn't for my kids, if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here. Look at all those people it took to convince Dion that maybe, just maybe, it was time to let the hooch go. That they knew that I could be a better person than I was. Clara Joy says, thank you. It's good to see you. And it's good to be seen. Lots of the family afterwards for me this weekend. Awesome. Yeah. Got to take care of family, man. All right. So what does the rest of this say? And it says the AA Way of Life, page 67. Am I capable of such generous tribute and gratitude to my wife, parents, and friends without whose support I might never have survived to reach AA's doors? I will work on this and try to see the plan my higher power is showing me, which links our lives together. Now, AA kind of needs to move forward. It needs to move forward. The whole point of AA is meeting people where they are at. Okay, even if you go read step 1 in the 12 by 12, it explicitly talks about how we had to raise the bottom so that it would reach other people. We cannot have this expectation of people having to get so bad. Because I tell you now, most people that I see come into AA, if this would have been 1939, you would not have qualified. You wouldn't have qualified for the program. When I got sober at 18, I would not have qualified for the program. At 45, I would have. So they removed those qualifications. If you feel like you have a problem with alcohol, awesome. Now we're going to get to thousands of founders. I had to say that slow. I had to say it so like fit spiritual condition. I always have to say that slow, or I will say spit spiritual condition. I will. It's part of my dyslexia, which is why my brain tends to memorize things. Right? People are like, okay, I'm going to read from page 62, and my brain just starts saying it. It just starts saying it. Leisure says, California sucks. I'm glad you didn't die in California. Thank you. I appreciate that. California is a great place to visit and leave. I lived in San Diego, and people are just, well, yeah, I'm not going to go there. They're not very friendly. Claire Joyce says, walking in a living amend, only by the grace, I never knew it could be so joyful. Yeah. Healing's a great process. When you get, we go from having to get to. And once we get to a point where we that we can have a little bit of gratitude that we get to do these things now, things really change for people. All right, so thousands of founders. Well, I thank God that I was privileged to be an early AA member, and this is from Bill. I honestly wish that the word founder could be eliminated from the AA vocabulary. He didn't want to be called a founder. He didn't want to be the person set aside. And he wasn't, and he shouldn't be treated that way. Am I grateful that Bill started everything? Yeah, but I'm more grateful for the 100 people that kept him in line. Right? These were group decisions. Bill didn't make all these decisions. He presented them, but quite often they were changed. Right? This happens in group conscious quite often. right? So he didn't want to be called a founder. He just wanted to be a member of AA like everyone else. When you get right down to it, everyone who has done any amount of successful 12-step work is bound to be the founder of a new life for other alcoholics. So instead of him saying, well, you know what? I don't want to be called the founder. So what we're going to do is everybody's a founder. There we go. But did you hear the qualification there? You can't just show up and suddenly you're a founder. No, you got to do 12-step work. What does that mean? It means talking to other alcoholics to come to the program. That's 12-step work. 12-step work means going to hospitals and detoxes and these different places. We're getting ready to do it at the Community Reach Center. That's why it's so exciting for everybody, because we're going to be 12-stepping people into the program. That is the 12th step. Service work is found in the traditions. So step 12 and service work are actually supposed to be kind of different. They're kind of two different things. What else is 12th step? Taking somebody else through the steps, carrying the message, paying it forward. Service work. You take a position, you chair a meeting, right? They're an awful lot alike. They're certainly akin. Okay. But if you have, whether the person came into the program or not, or whatever, then you're a founding member. Pretty cool, huh? Then you're a founder. And what are we doing? Well, we're leveling the playing field. We're evening the field, because there's no greater signs or less than signs in AA. Now, everybody has the same rights. Everybody gets the same thing. There isn't a set of steps for women and then a set of steps for men. No, it's not how it works. All right. Okay. This would be a letter from 1966. The previous one was 1945. This one says AA was not invented. Nope. It was borrowed. It was stolen. And we allow it to continue being that. Okay. Its basics were brought to us through the experience and wisdom of many great friends. We simply borrowed and adapted their ideas. We got a lot of our stuff from the Oxford group. The Oxford group 12th step Bill into sobriety through Ebby. All right. Oxford group is a great program. They don't so much hold meetings now as much as they are sober livings. And they have had sober livings for over 100 years. They're the really only true sober living is the Oxford houses. And all the other ones are kind of, all the other ones are sober livings too. Just, it doesn't matter. There's no reason to put anything down. Everything's kind of needed at the moment. So we didn't invent it. Well, what does that mean? It means even more that Bill wasn't the founder. You know who the founder was? It's a 3-letter word we use a lot. God. God's the founder of AA. That's my belief. Without God, Bill wouldn't have made it. It wouldn't have happened. But what he saw was this, a need for it not to be Christianity. Because Oxford group is Christian. They follow the Bible. They have 6 tenets. Right? There's a lot of spin-offs. Yep. Clara got it right. Ding, ding, ding. Clara wins. The winner is Clara. Clara, today you have won what's behind door number 1. Too many game shows as a kid. right? Yeah, God started AA. Bill was a vessel. He was a vessel, and he was chosen to do it. So you can argue with God if you want to and put down Bill, but when you're putting down Bill, you're putting down God. You're saying God's handiwork isn't enough for you. That's what I hear. Hmm. Oh no! What? He was a human being? What? What? He was a human being? Oh no! All right. I just want us to we need to get back to being grateful that the AA program is here, right? And utilizing it. I'm making a big push for AA right now because there are a lot of people out there that are going to be without help very soon, and I want them to know that there's a place for them. That's why I'm doing this one this morning. I want you to know that there's a place for you, that you're not alone. I want you to have I want you to have the same great shot at sobriety that I was given, because Bill made a decision not to go into the bar, and instead he went to the church directory and found Dr. Bob. Morning, Nick. Good to see you, brother. Been a minute. Hope you're doing well. So AA was not invented. We simply borrowed and adapted other ideas. This last part is also a letter from 1966. Thankfully, we have accepted and devoted services of many non-alcoholics. Who's one of the major non-alcoholics that helped us out? There were several. Dr. Silkworth. There again, if Dr. Silkworth had not been available, if he had not done his own work to figure out what the ins and outs, it was Dr. Silkworth that figured out that we had a mental illness so that we were not lumped into that category anymore. Rockefeller Jr., Osler. There's a lot of non-alcoholic friends. And we can go back to the first reading, Lois and Anne, which was Bill and Bob's wives. If it wasn't for them, then Al-Anon wouldn't be around. See, we needed them. The beginning of AA is nothing short of perfection. The 164 pages, the first 164 pages are perfect. When I hear people saying, well, it's outdated, it's antiquated. No, it's not. That's it. Do you love Lord of the Rings? Written the same time. Is it antiquated? No, it's not. Now, see, that's just an excuse to put something down so you feel better about yourself. It's not antiquated. I'll give you Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was written even before AA came around. But every time I go to a meeting, oh yeah, I'm Mr. Hyde. Yeah, I turned into that. That's the one thing on page 21 that people hone in on every single time. Is it antiquated? No, it is not. What's going on is there are some big words in there, and you refuse to look it up. So you don't understand it, and you continue to stay naive. That's not the big book's problem. That's your problem. Stop being lazy. Look it up. I look up stuff here all the time, and all it does is help us understand it a little bit better. Okay, back in the 30s, they didn't really go for slang and stuff like that. Okay, the big book is written in what I would call proper English, which is what we speak. And it just tells me that the minds of 90 years ago were just as smart as they are now, especially if you don't know the word, but they did. What does that tell you? Oh, you got some explaining to do, Lucy. All right. We owe our very lives to the men and women of medicine and religion. Yeah. Patricia says here we call Big Book as our Bible. Yeah. I call the Big Book Bible for dummies. just to have a little fun with it, all right? Claire Joyce says you have to be humble to look at something up active ambition. You don't know everything. Yeah. Nor can you really memorize everything. There are a lot of, like, the big one is on page 58. And of course, and what is it? Da-da-da-da-da. It's not incomprehensible demoralization, not that one. What am I thinking of here? We're gonna go look. All right, so I'm 58, which is how it works, and we read it all the time. That's why I feel weird that constitutionally incapable. That's it. And I'll hear people say in meetings, maybe I'm just constitutionally incapable of being honest, which tells me they didn't look it up. Because constitutionally incapable is a fancy way of saying denial, which means you didn't look it up. What you're saying doesn't even fit to what it says. Well, maybe I'm constitutionally incapable. So what you're saying is I'm denying the fact that I can be honest. That's what you just said. Yeah. But the fact that you're even bringing it up means you're not denying it. You're just not doing anything about it. Morning, Amber. She says, good morning, you crazy mofos. Yeah, we are crazy, huh? Crazy about sobriety and recovery. Right. Good to see you, Amber. I got a little bit more, and then we're wrapping up here. And speaking for Dr. Bob and myself, I gratefully declare that had it not been for our wives, Ann and Lois, neither of us would have lived to see the AA beginning. So this did match. This did match to the daily reflection. Yeah. So whenever I got confused because it said AA way of life, which is, as Bill sees it, the AA way of life. All right. I will remember that in a year's time when it comes up again. Otherwise, I'm totally going to forget. All right. As we wrap up, I want to read some things here. Amber says, I heard someone say they're one of those types we call terminally unique. Like, bro, the point is we aren't terminally unique. Yeah. And we need to find out that we're not. That's where hope comes in, right? Yeah. Sad part is he was the speaker of the meeting, just focused on his drinking days. Didn't hear much. Yeah, that's sad. And it was probably a man. Women are better speakers because they actually talk about their feelings. Men have a hard time being vulnerable and transparent when it comes to that. You know, I appreciate that a lot of people tell me that. Yeah, I've literally been told after I've spoke, we never get men here who share like that. I'm like, well, it's not fair to compare me. I am who I am who I am. All right. So, all righty. All right. That's going to be it for this one. I'll probably be back at 11. Maybe. We'll see. But most likely. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. No, I do. Peace out. And